وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. And about. So I think it's necessary that I put something on tape so that people can see it and hear it from different places. A few weeks ago, I was teaching a class here, and somebody over there asked me a question regarding tasting of food during fasting time. So I went on to give him a long dialogue and to tell him about, you know, that this is not considered as a good thing to do. And in the middle of me giving that discussion, somebody jumped up from over there. And he started to say how tasting of the food is okay during fasting hours. So I abruptly sat him down. The reason I sat him down was because, first of all, he doesn't have the right to give this information that he's given unless he is a qualified person. So I could see that he was not a qualified person because the information he was given was not in accordance with Islam's idea about that. So I sat him down. But I went further than that. When I went back, I looked up this discussion in the Arba Madhabi. It means by the 4 Imams. And the 4 Imams of the Madhabs, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, and Ahmed ibn Hanbal. May Allah have mercy on all of them and make them successful as they deserve. And I found that none of them, only one I couldn't find was Ahmed ibn Hanbal's idea about that. He didn't even have a discussion. It wasn't even a topic of discussion in his fiqh. The others disagreed with doing that emphatically. They were so hard against it. They called it a deplorable action, and they were very hard against tasting of food. But you know, I went even further to give them the people a dialogue on why you don't put things in your mouth. Like in the madhab of Imam Malik, they allow you not to put water in your mouth when you make wudu, or in your nose, for fear that it may slip into your throat and, you know, it would break your fasting. Even though if there's an accident, you see, what they try to do is they try to eliminate the possibility of having this problem. So they say, well, don't put the water in your nose or your mouth, period, during fasting hours. And then you won't have the accident. So it's like maybe unconsciously you're having an accidentally on purpose because you're thirsty. You understand what I said? So they eliminate that. Don't put it in your mouth, period. So then if that's the case with the water, and the water is a part of the wudu, then how is it probable that they will tell you to taste food during the fasting time? It just doesn't make sense. So what I wanted the people to understand is, when you take information, you have to take information from people who have been trained to give you information. Somebody just jump up out of this over there somewhere and start trying to give you information. The first question the people should say, first thing they should do is say, wait a minute, nobody's talking to you. Who are you? Where did you come from? Where did you go to school? Who was your teacher? What grade level was you on? Did you pass? You understand what I'm saying? You can't just accept. My talk to the people is that you got to stop accepting everything from everybody and calling it Islamic knowledge. You want Islamic knowledge, you have to know about the history of that person, something. Like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came as a prophet, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him prophethood, before prophethood, everybody in his city and the roundabouts knew who he was. There was no question. They all knew who he was, what kind of person he was, whether he was a truthful person or not, whether he was a generous person or not, whether he was a reliable person or not. You understand me? They all knew who he was. No question about it. So when he became prophet, the people say, oh, did he lose his mind? And he's saying to them, if I tell you that there's an army on the other side of this mountain preparing to come and attack you, would you believe me? They say, yes, of course, we know you're honest and truthful. He said, then why would you think I would lie about Allah? You understand? So we know for sure that they knew his history. They knew he wasn't lying. What the problem was that they just weren't prepared to change. They liked what they were doing. So they changed in small increments. First this one, then that one, then maybe 12 of them, then like that, until he influenced the whole surrounding area. You following me? But they knew who he was. And this has become a precedent in Islam, that when you're going to start taking information from somebody, you got to look into who they are. What was their history? Are they qualified to give this information? Or is this just somebody blowing off steam and just thinking they know something that they don't know? Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is a tactic, especially here in America, that we have to start to attack that in detail. Somebody just jump up and start talking mess. You're like, whoa, whoa, who are you? What's your name? Where you come from? Do you have ijazah? And somebody give you permission to teach people that? Or where'd that come from? You understand me? Brothers and sisters got to stop accepting information from any and everybody just because they look different from you. Don't listen. I'm telling you. Unless you know who. Like, look. When it comes time for prayer, a man is going to come in there. His name is Sheikh Jolo. He's the imam. When he come in, if you want to go and ask him questions, you should, because he's an educated man. Ain't no question about it. He's an educated man. I know where he went to school. I know he graduated top of his class. I know he's an educated man. There's no question about it. Okay? But some other guy may come in there, if you don't know who he is. See, in these Islamic centers, for the most part, the person who acts as the imam has to be a highly educated man. Because these are the centers of Islam in whichever city you're in. So they can't just have anybody do it, you understand? They have to be, that's why the scholars, when they go traveling around, they come and visit these centers because these are the places that the scholars go to. Simple as that. Simple as that, see? So, my advice is to always be on your P's and Q's on who you take and learning from. Don't just accept it from some guy because, he talks ferociously or he has a nice charismatic personality or something because he's talking Arabic. That don't mean nothing. Everybody all over the Middle East talk Arabic. Not even half of them are educated people. Not even half. See? So, this is my talk to you, talk to the people all over the world, is that, be careful on who you take information from. Once my teacher told me, he said, people, they go to the doctor. When they go to the doctor's office, the first thing they do is they be looking on the wall. They be looking on the wall in the doctor's office to see what kind of degree the doctor have. Looking on the wall, right? He said, but they don't pay that kind of attention to their dean, and the dean is going to go on after their life is over, whereas the doctor's information is going to stop. When you die, that's it. See? But who you take your learning from in regards to your life, it also is for now and for later. So you got to be cautious with that, more cautious with that than when you go to get your teeth. You go in the dentist's office, you be like, is he a good dentist? Well, how come you would do that with the dentist, but the guy who, you take information from somebody who is not going to give you good information for the rest of your Islamic life, both now and later? Just doesn't make sense. So maybe we're not the believers we saying that we are. Because if you're the believer that you say you are, then you're going to be real cautious about who you take your information from to put just your life in practice, to put into your life for practice, for your hereafter. You're going to be cautious about that, see? So anybody who's not cautious about that, then maybe they're not who they think they are. They should do some introspection. One thing about Ramadan, the shaitans and the bad jinns are imprisoned. So what the scholars say about that is that if they're in prison, then we can't blame them for bad ideas and bad behavior and stuff like that, because they're not even there. They're not whispering to you now. So whatever comes to you now, it's from you. It's from you, right, Solomon? It's from you. So look, if that's the case, what that is, that's an opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us during this month of Ramadan, one of his mercies. He's letting us see ourselves. So you say, oh, I see what I've been doing. I can't blame that one on the shaitan. I was be like, he ain't even here. He's in chains. That's coming from me. I have to work on that in myself. I have to correct that in myself. You following what I'm saying? Don't blame him now. This is the time for us to see ourselves clearer and to be able to try to repair ourselves from now until next Ramadan. See? So by next Ramadan, you'll know whether or not you were effective, because when next Ramadan come and he put his way in jail, you can't blame him. If the same thing is happening that happened to you last time when he was put in jail, that means that you haven't completed your mission. You didn't fix yourself. Are you following me? So this is the advice that I want to give to the people all over the place, you know? And stop blaming the next guy. Stop blaming the next guy. The next guy's not going to have nothing to do. He can't make you do anything. If you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, it's on you. It's not on the next guy. The next guy, he's gonna have to carry his own load. See? Stop blaming him. Each one of us have a choice. We can do or not do. That's our choice. That's a part of us being human, the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave us some kind of a choice that we could either go that way or not go that way. See? So, anyway. As you like.
I have about 3 questions.
3 questions.
That you can clear up quickly for us.
Inshallah.
Number 1, I had someone in my presence last week, and he said, oh man, I broke my fast. I said, how did you break your fast? I can't. He said, number 1, I went into this place. I shouldn't have been in there to play the number for somebody.
Play the number?
For somebody.
MashaAllah.
Then he said, this female was standing in front of me, and I was lusting after her, and I broke my fast.
Well,
then he says, I feed 60 people, I'll be strict. I said, no, I can't. I said, if you break your fast intentionally, you got to make up that day, and you have to fast 60 consecutive days. Who said that? Who said Allah makes this? I said, my teacher, Sheikh, Ameen, a student of Dr. Dunya. See what I'm saying? Man makes this religion hard, and Allah makes it easy. I said, yeah, kid. I said, that's what Allah Ta'ala said.
So, you know, I get a lot of calls from people who, and wherever they are, in different places in the country, different places in the world, they have people that, you know, they want to do it their way. So they think that you can know something without being taught how to do it. And, you know, my teacher used to say, yeah, all right, so go build the bridge. Would you want to walk on a bridge that's being built by a guy who read a book on how to build bridges, or would you want to walk on the bridge by somebody who was trained to build bridges? So of course the answer is I'd rather walk on somebody who's trained how to build bridges. You know, that's the safe way. You know, if I walk on a bridge that somebody read a book and they try to put the bridge together, I'm probably going to die, right? Well, this is like basic logic. You know, and these type of conversations I don't have, because you know, if somebody's so ignorant that they just want to do what they want to do, then that's on them. I don't have the responsibility to fight with them about that. My responsibility is only for the people who want to know. If they want to know, I should be prepared to help them to know. But if somebody wants to fight and argue and say, you know, that's the problem with people or whatever, then that means that he think he know better than everybody else, so he's on his own. That's his problem. That's not my problem.
You said to us, so I let it go.
Yeah, man,
Now,
that's his problem.
The next thing, I was in a conversation with a person, oh, brother, look, he's been around some days. And we were talking about how many rockouts they be making in different masjids. During Taraweeh. So he said, well, some people do 20. I said, well, where I go, I said, Imam do 10. He said, no, it's 8 plus 3 with them. I said, there's no 3 with them. I said, 8. He said, you do 8 rak'ahs and you do 3 with them. I said, no. It's 8 rak'ahs, Taraweeh, 2 shafa, and 1 with them. Who said that? I said, Yaqeen, that's the way Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed. No, we used to do 3 with that. I said, ask anybody.
Okay, once again, Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Muhammad. Once again, we're talking about lack of education. It's not so much that, that they don't want to, they just don't know, right. and in fact, every month, every masjid don't make it the same way. Right. Some do Abu Hanifa's way of making the 3 rakats together at the end of the Taraweeh. So, you understand what I said? Mm-hmm. They do it, the 3 together at the end of the Taraweeh. They make what Imam Malik calls the shafa, and then a salam, and then the witr, which is one by itself. They don't do that. They call it the 3 together. They call that witr. Okay. And that's okay. That belongs to a legitimate madhab and a methodology. Nothing wrong with that. Just depending on where you are and who's the imam, and whether he have some kind of learning But most of the people in this area, they do the 3 rakats after the Taraweeh together. They do it together. They don't do Imam Malik's way of the shafa and the witr. But it doesn't mean that doing it that way, the shafa and the witr, is not a legal way. It just means that most of the people in this part of the country, in this part of the city, they don't do that way. So it's nothing to debate because, either you follow one way or the other, whichever way the imam. Listen to me. When you go into a masjid, if you decide I'm going to pray behind this imam, that means you got to trust the imam that he know what he doing. You see? So if he do this way or that way, doesn't matter. It's on him. You got to trust that he knows what he's doing. See? When I come in here, I stand behind Sheikh Saad, right? Whatever I'm standing behind Sheikh Saad, I'm confident that he know what he's doing. So I'm just relax and make my prayer. I'm not even, thinking about it. So this is what I'm saying to you. If you're going to pray someplace and you're going to do that consistently, then you have to know something about who you're praying behind, and you have to trust him. And once you trust him, that's it. Like if you're standing there and he should have made 4 rakats for Zohar, and he only made 3, then it's your responsibility to remind him you only made 3, and then he'll fix it. You understand? But other than that, you gotta trust that he know what he's doing. So, yeah, don't worry about this. That kind of stuff, it belongs mostly to people who don't know. And this is one of the problems in this part of the world. That's why I started this talk telling you be careful who you take information from. Because you got a lot of people here who don't know, and they're emphatic that it got to be done that way, because that's what they think. But they have never actually sat down and talked to anybody who does know. Now, that's their responsibility, because in history here, there was nobody to talk to. Everybody was like not knowing, basically. See? Everybody was basically not knowing. So some people, like, they could read a little bit better, understand a little bit better than other guy, if they even had books available on some types of subjects, but they didn't have. So, it was kind of up in the air. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He was charging us by what we could know and what we could do. You understand? He wasn't charging us as if we were like people who already knew. So, but Allah knew that. So as time went on, He replaced ignorance with some learning. and then it became the duty of all the people to try and learn, including the imams, that's sitting in their office someplace unlearned and telling people the wrong information. Because why? Ego and pride. See? So let's eliminate the ego and pride, and the other imams who realize, oh, I need to learn that. They stopped being the imam for a minute and went and learned. You see? And that's the right tactic. So this is one of the problems of this part of the world, is that you got people that they think you can go into the hotel room with a book and come out the hotel room being a scholar. They all mixed up. Scholarship requires a teacher who is scholarly. There is no shortcut to knowledge in Islam. There's no shortcut to knowledge in the world. That's what I'm trying to say. People will take shortcuts in Islam, but they won't take a shortcut on getting their shoe repaired. They go to get their shoe repaired, they're trying to go to the best shoe repair man they can find. He's a trained shoe repair man. See? In Islam, they'll take information from anybody. And this is insanity, because the Islam is your life, now and later. As you like.
No, I just want a little demonstration from you. When a person is sitting for their salah, how should the person line up? If a person puts the chair here and he stands, he's ahead of the brothers in line.
Okay, I got you. Allahumma salli wa sallam barakallahu Muhammad. So listen. This kind of question is not like the best type of question to ask me unless you're prepared to hear what I'm going to say.
All right, sir.
You got people that run into a masjid and they take their chair and they put their chair in the front row, or the second row, or the front row, or the second row. They don't belong there.
In the back.
They should be in the last of the line. Because if they're in the front row or the next to the front row, they are in fact breaking the rank.
Right.
And the people in the front rows are supposed to be the most strongest, sturdiest, knowledgeable, the best people among the men.
Thank you.
So that's right.
It goes down the line.
That's right.
The strongest, the most learned, and it goes down the next rank.
Absolutely.
Next rank.
Absolutely.
And then the children, the one in the back.
That's right. The children, the male children even come before the women.
Right.
So look, this, what we see of it being done, you know, it's not the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
The people that have to sit down, they're infirm, they're weak and stuff like that, they should be in the back. Just like this salat is symbolic of lining up for war. This salat is symbolic of lining up for war. When the Prophet ﷺ used to line up the people for war, he used to always have the strongest people frontways, in the front. See? They tell in the history, they tell about people who were infirm, and old people, and people with different types of infirmities, and people who couldn't afford a horse, and how they would be in tears because they can't go and fight. See? They would be in tears. They still be trying to go to fight. And absolutely. But they weren't the soldiers in the front row. See? So this is where we have gotten away from the real principle of the prayer. It's like going to war. It's like presenting yourself before the enemy for war. See? And when the enemy look over there, you want him to see all the strongest, most intelligent, dedicated. That's what you want him to see. See? Anyway, this is the type of question that The people right now, they're too busy. They're too busy following something old before knowledge came. So, you know, they're not going to really listen. And so there's a point where, you know, how much arguing can you do with the people? You know, I basically try to mind my business on some stuff because that stuff don't belong to me personally. That's, you know, if you want to sit in your chair in the front row, and you know, I'm not going to fight with you about that. But you ask me, how should it be?
Right.
It should be that the people have any type of infirmity that would not allow them to do everything like everybody in the row is doing. They should be in the back. So if you got 10 chairs in the back behind the line, that's their line. It doesn't bother the strength of the line. You understand? But if you got one here and one down there, and and one here, that they are affecting the strength of the line. The line should be like everybody's on a rope, and so we all connected to that rope. So when they pull you to go to ruku, everybody goes to ruku together. When they pull you to stand from ruku, everybody stands from ruku together. When they pull you to do sujood, everybody does sujood together. You understand me? So this is the way it should be. How it is, that's a whole nother world. Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barak ala Muhammad. Anything else? As you like, Abdul.
Now, if it's just like one or two lines, the person in the chair should be at the end of the row?
That's right. If it's one or two lines, then he should be at the end of the row. See? If there's two lines and then a little bit in the back, 3 line, then one of the people in the back that's not in the chair should take that spot closer to the front, and the one in the chair should take his spot in the back. It's not that deep a problem. But what happens is, you know, when you try to, you know, when they're lining up, and if you try to explain this, man, you're gonna have to fight. You know, they're gonna go back and forth with you until, you know, it's more disturbing to go back and forth with them than it is for them to just stay where they are. You following me? But if you're asking me the way it should be, I have to tell you the answer. Okay, as you like. Okay. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Regarding last week's lesson, said that the first step in making wudu is the niyyah.
The niyyah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, in our acts without the niyyah, there's no ibadah or no action.
That's right.
I don't understand exactly what you mean by that.
Mubah. Oh, you don't understand the word, when I said the word mubah?
No. When you said that without niyyah, there's no ibadah, no action.
Oh, absolutely. Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barak ala Muhammad. In Islam, there's a hadith that an Imam Bukhari, an Imam Muslim, that all actions are judged by its intention.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
If you have no intention, you can have no action. It's like, for it to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for him. It have to have the intention that I'm doing this for you. So I told you guys a statement. I said, let's say somebody washed their hands 1,000 times. Wash their hands, their face, and their arms, and their head, and their feet 1,000 times, right? Would they be considered as clean to make prayers? Absolutely not. Because in order for that to be considered as wudu, it have to be a niyyah. The intention have to be, I'm making niyyah, I'm making intention, I'm making wudu for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to make this prayer. That's niyyah. That's intention. So without that, you have no action. You can wash 1,000 times. Besides that, in order for your washing to be considered as wudu, you have to be what? You have to be what? A Muslim.
I was gonna say
you have to be a Muslim. If you're not a Muslim and you washing, you making 1,000 times wudu or washing, it's not wudu. It's only wudu when you're a believer, when you're a Muslim. I mean, you have to be a Muslim in order for your niyyah for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be accepted as that. You understand now? So, if they follow you, let's say somebody see you making wudu, right? And then they want to make wudu too. But they don't know what they're doing. They don't know that it's wudu. They just doing what you do. So yours is considered as wudu because you're a Muslim. Theirs wouldn't be considered as nothing but washing their hands and face and their head and their feet because they're not Muslim. Now, you say to them, wait a minute. Let me tell you about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Remember, whenever you talk to somebody about this deen, you don't talk to them about prayers and wudu and stuff. You talk to them about the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as being the seal of the prophets and the messengers. You understand? So look, after you finish having that talk with them, you say to them, well, you think you're ready to be a Muslim? They like the conversation. They say, yeah, I think I want to do that. I want to take a shahada. Say, okay. I'll be a witness that there's. You give them the shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Right? Soon as they finish making those words, you say to them, okay, come on, let's go. I'm going to show you how to make wudu. Now they're making wudu. You got me? Okay.
One more part.
I don't want to go no more parts.
So even if you, because sometimes, I forget to make the niyyah, but.
Make what? Say it again?
Sometimes I forget to make niyyah, to make niyyah that I'm going to do something, you know what I'm saying?
How could you forget to make niyyah? Because look, the action, you making wudu, you're saying in wudu.
Yeah.
You're making wudu to make zohr, right? Mm-hmm. So when you go into, you don't have to say, it's stronger if you say in your mind, make that you're making the niyyah for zohr, washing for zohr. It's stronger, but you don't have to pronounce it like that. If it's just a thought in your mind that this is zohr time, I have to wash to be able to, I need the wudu to make zohr. That's all you have to have. It doesn't have to be a direct, I'm gonna make wudu for maghrib. But if you do that, if you have that in your mind someplace, it makes it stronger. But it's not necessary for you to actually pronounce that. You understand what I'm saying now? Okay. So what Hajj Dawood is saying, he's talking about something a little bit different, because he's talking about the technicalities of making wudu, that you should say Bismillah, Bismillah Rahman. That wasn't part of the subject that I'm talking about. That's going to come in here. Right. So that's why I didn't want to go any further, because I'm going to teach you how to make this wudu according to step by step. Okay? So what we talk about now is niyyah. Okay. The first obligatory fard of ablution is the intention, or the niyyah. I intend to make ablution to remove all impurities which are called al-hadis al-asghar. Al-hadis al-asghar. And what that means is, al-hadis al-asghar are the things that make you need wudu.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll write it down.
You have to make
Something
it.
that I can.
That's right. Because, when you transliterate into English language from an Arabic word, it's no exact spelling. So you have to make it sound as close as you can to what the word is. In this one, they say al-hadis, A-L-H-A-D-I-S. Al-hadis al-asghar. A-L-A-S-G-H-A-R. So that's as close as they can make it. But I'm sure that if somebody else writes this, they may make it sound a little, it may spell it a little different to make it sound that way to them. So what I always advise you about is in your notes, when you write things, you have to write it so that when you teach it to people, you will have the right pronunciation based on the way you understand what you wrote. You following me? Okay. So these are the small actions that take you out of the state of wudu.
So that's what, sorry, that's what that means?
That's what it means.
Al-Hadis al-Asghar.
Al-Hadis al-Asghar are those actions, small actions, that take you out of the state of purity that makes you need wudu. Okay? So there's gonna come a next term, is called Al-Hadis al-Akhbar. Al-Hadis al-Akhbar. Al-Hadis al-Akhbar is those things that take you out of the state of purity that make you need ghusl. That's right. Al-Hadis al-Akhbar are the big things that make you need ghusl. Al-Hadis al-Asghar are the small things that make you need wudu. Suleiman, you feel okay? Suleiman, you feeling okay? You feeling okay?
Yeah, good.
Okay, I'm good.
What was the second term?
Al-Hadis al-Akbar. That's what makes you need ghusl. Okay. Urine, breaking of wind, physical excrements that come from you when you go to the bathroom, sleep, touching the skin of a person or the person of a strange woman and receiving some pleasure from it. These things will break ablution. Kissing your wife or husband in the mouth and receiving pleasure will break wudu. Okay, again, should I do it again?
Yes.
Yes.
Urine, breaking of wind, physical excrements, like when you move your bowels, sleep. Okay, sleep, look, let's do sleep real quick. Sleep means that the action you do in your sleep, when you do it, you don't realize that you did it. That's how you know you would sleep. So they have a classical thing that the ulama used to say. They say, if you haven't holding a pen in your hand and you drop the pen and don't realize it, and then you look up and you look later and you say, oh, I dropped the pen, you were asleep. Even if you were sitting in a chair, standing on your back on the wall, if you did like this and dropped the pen or dropped the paper or the book or whatever it is, and then sometime later you do like this and say, oh, that means you were asleep. Wow. Now, on the other hand, let's say that you sit in the chair and you do like this, you drop the pen, and as soon as you drop the pen, you go, you was asleep. Sometime when you make tasbih, right? Especially in Ramadan, sometime when you make it tasbih, you do like this. You still got it in your hand, like that. Then stop.
It drops.
Stop. and it drops. Sometimes you stop and it don't drop.
Right.
But sometimes you stop and it drop. When it drop, you hear something go. You say, "Oh." You wasn't asleep. Okay. You was almost asleep, right. But you wasn't asleep. Yes.
Is that considered a nano sleep or something like that?
Say it again.
A nano sleep.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay.
Tell me.
So like
a small sleep.
A small sleep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's not enough to make you have to make a new wudu. The reason they say it's not enough to make you a new wudu, because if you realize right away, say, oh, right away, that means that if you pass gas, right away you would know, and you know you got to get up and make a new wudu. That's what it means. It gives you a measure. Now, if time passes, Assalamu alaikum. If some time passes and you don't realize it, then you will sleep. Yes.
If you stop and you don't realize you stopped, and sometimes and then you like, oh, I actually stopped, and you start back, that means you were asleep.
If enough time passes, but if you just do like this, no, that's not enough.
What I'm saying, just actually realize you stopped.
If enough time passes,
to me in the morning.
yeah, it happens to everybody. But it's not considered as sleep unless enough time passes that, like if you was holding the thing and you dropped it, and then you said, oh, you was asleep. See, but if you just go like this, you know, you're doing like this, and then, oh, you picked it right back up, then you wasn't asleep. That's the only way I can give you a criteria for it. Hmm? How are you, young man? You okay? Alhamdulillah. Did I meet you outside? Yeah. I did, right? I gave you my card? I didn't have a card then. Okay. MashaAllah. So, tell him your name.
Muhammad.
This is Muhammad.
So,
So, my advice is that when we finish this lesson, that you introduce yourselves to young man Muhammad, and that you try to take some information on where he is, how he can, and give him some information on how he can contact you, because one of the main things of brotherhood is that we have to assist each other. This is a necessity in our Islam. So many times we are saying salam alaikum to people, but we're not stopping them saying, yo, brother, what's your name? Where you live? Oh, I live there. Hey, this is my number. You have to be more congenial with each other, you know? And yeah, this is a part of our deen. So one of the things I always advocate is to extend your brotherhood, your love and your brotherhood as much as you possibly can. We got enough hate problems. We don't need no more of those. But we want to be good brothers, as Islam tells us that we should be good brothers to each other and to other people. If somebody's not a Muslim, don't mean that we're not supposed to treat them nicely.
Sure.
It's part of our deen to treat them nicely also. Okay. Okay, so at the same time, you should have the intention of the prayer or action of worship you will perform with this wudu in your mind. In your mind. Yes.
Did you complete the breaking of wudu?
Say it again.
The list of breaking the wudu?
Yeah, those are the things. Yeah, the list.
what was it again?
Cause you
Okay.
Stop that sleep.
Oh, I didn't do it all. Okay.
You said you wanted to expound.
Urine, breaking of wind, physical excrements, like when you go to the bathroom, move your bowels, sleep, and I talked to, yeah, you're right, I stopped at sleep. Sleep, touching the skin of or the person of a strange woman, and receiving some pleasure from touching. This will result in the breaking of ablution or wudu.
I have my son who just took his shahada. I'm wondering if he can come over now.
I don't understand what she's saying.
She has
a son. She wants you to bring it.
How long?
Yes, tell him to come.
How long is it for now?
How long is it?
To his door time.
Until, oh yeah.
Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barak ala Muhammad.
You also mentioned,
Kissing your wife
yeah, that was.
or husband in the mouth passionately. Not just, that's not enough. You have to be passionate. Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barak ala Muhammad. And in the mouth passionately and receiving some pleasure from it will break wudu. Okay? That's the end of the list of those things. You're going to come to some other stuff that, as I go on in the lessons, but these are the main things. These are the main things. Okay? Yes.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about touching an unfamiliar woman.
What they mean by unfamiliar woman is any woman that you have the right to get married to if you wanted to marry her. in other words, she's not a family member or nothing like that, and you know, let's say, okay, example. Let's say you're riding on the subway train. You got wudu, which I always suggest that people be in wudu as much as they possibly can. When you break a wudu, you should try to make it back again as soon as you possibly can, because the hadith say that wudu is a sword in the hands of the believers. It means that it helps to protect you. You can fight back with the wudu. See? So, let's say you're riding on this train. And on the train, you bumping into people, people bumping into you. But this one lady, when she bump into you, you touch her skin, you say to yourself, she's soft. I mean, maybe I should bump into her again. Wudu, out the window. You got me now, Abdul? Wudu, out the window.
I just ride the train in the morning.
Yeah.
For some reason, this young white girl would get on that train every morning and get right up in front of me and back up on me real hard.
Stop for Lazim.
Stuff.
Yeah, so
Man, I had to get on another train.
that's exactly what you should have done. Switch cars. Okay, you understand me now. So look, I don't be trying to say this stuff to make you guys laugh. I'm just using analogies to like help for it to sink in. Yeah, it's the real world, you know, to help for it to sink in. The shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he hates me. He hates me with a passion. See, because I'm always trying to make you alert to his tactics. See, keeping wudu is one of the things to help protect you from his dealings. See, and giving you these type of lessons where you can look back and say, yeah, Sheikh was telling me about when I'm on the train. Let me get off this. Let me move over. You understand what I'm saying? This helps you to know how to fight back. He hates that. He liked the ignorant people. He loved you. He loved the people not to know about their Islam. Makes him happy. You guys sitting here learning Islam, he hates that with a passion. It's like you become his main enemy, one of his main enemies, because you're learning how to fight back against him. You see? This is my duty to you, and that will be your duty to the next people. Because I always tell you that when you sit here, you're not sitting here for me. You sitting here so that you can acquire what you need to help other people. Other people. See, I don't have no constituency where, you know, I got to keep a certain amount of people around to be able to keep the roof on the building. No, I want you to learn and then go someplace and teach other people. That's what I want you to do. Okay. So, at the same time, you should have the intention of the prayer or action of worship you will perform with this wudu in your mind. The intention can be made together, either audibly, spoken, or silently. The intention can be made together, either audibly spoken or silently. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is hidden and what is manifest. In other words, whether you say it or not, as long as it's someplace in your head that I'm doing this wudu for this action that I'm going to perform, I'm going to do wazifa, I'm going to do a weird, I'm going to do whatever your ibadah, I'm going to do the tahajjud, whatever your ibadah, when you're making that wudu, it should be for that particular reason. And when you make, I know your question. When you make the wudu for that reason, it's good for anything else you need to make wudu for. Okay.
What if you just making general wudu, just stated?
But it's strong, the wudu is stronger if your intention is stronger. See, if somebody just, you can't, look, you can't just wipe your hands and your head and your feet and your arms and stuff without having a reason to do it. The reason is that I need wudu. If you say if in your mind you're making the wiping, that means you know you need wudu. That's a niyyah. Look, according to his question, but if you say, I'm going to do, as soon as I finish making wudu, I'm going to make Isha, that makes the intention stronger. Not saying that after Isha time goes, that you make your Isha on that wudu, that the wudu went away. Wudu's still there. If you stay up until sup, you can make the wudu, you can make the sup off the same wudu that you had Isha. You understand?
Right.
So, once you have made it, it's good for anything that requires wudu. But when you're gonna make it, it's always best that you make it with the strong intention of the action you're gonna perform right after making the wudu. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. You understand? Yes. Yes, I will.
So you can actually make the intent for the next prayer that you'll be making, even if it's an hour or two before.
Yeah, absolutely. But in that case, you don't have to make that niyyah for that.
Okay.
You would make the niyyah because I have to make wudu, and when I'm making this wudu, it'll be for any of the actions that I'm going to perform down until I break wudu again. You got me? Okay. Allahumma salli wa sallam barakallah. So you understand better now?
Yes, I do. Thank
That's
you.
very important to me.
Do that.
Anything else? Okay. Abdul, you okay?
Good.
All right. Abdul. There are also a few other cases that would be considered al-hadith al-asghar, but they require much more details and will be explained separately at another time. I just told you that, didn't I? Yeah, okay. But they're minor. They're things that they're not as obvious as these things I just told you. These things I told you, sleep, urine, excrements, these type of things, there's no question that they break wudu immediately that it happens. But these other little things that I'm going to come to as time goes on, these are things that, you have to actually look at the cases separately, because maybe that does and maybe it doesn't. Following me? Yeah, okay. It is sunnah to be in a clean place when you're performing wudu. It is sunnah to be in a clean place when you're making wudu. So look, a case in point. When we're feeding the homeless people, right? And we have to go, sometimes we downtown and we have to go to the bathroom downtown in like Penn Station or something like that. And as soon as you walk in there and you look around on the floor and stuff like that, you know this is not a place you want to make wudu in. So what do I tell the people to do? Find a cup, get a cup, put the water in the cup, come out of that area and make wudu.